Good morning, Year 8. So we are here on a Friday, so therefore this is the solutions video to your 20 questions that you were set on Monday the 30th of March. Okay, so we'll just go through the answers, then you can have a go at purple penning them and see what your mark was out of 20. So the first one says, write in figures 13,502 units. So we just need to kind of plan this out. So we've got 13,000, that was nice and simple. Next up we've got 500, which is good. So we should have tens next, but there aren't any, so we're going to put a 0. And then we've got 2 units, okay? So we should have 13,502. Next one, write in figures 77,000, 8 tens and 3 units, okay? So we've got our 77,000. I keep saying that. 77,000. Now next up we should have hundreds, but we don't have any of those, so we're going to have a 0. And then we're going to have 8 tens, and we're going to have 3 units. Okay, so we should have 77,083. Next up, it says list the factors of 51. So factors are essentially numbers that go into that number, okay? So we're going to start with, obviously, the number 1, and we're going to have a factor pair. So we know that 1, when I times that by 51, equals 51. So I know that 1 and 51 are both factors of 51. Now I can kind of just go up and see what I get. So if I try and do 2, well I can't do 2 because 51 is an odd number, so 2 isn't going to go into 51, but what about 3? 3 does go into 51, but 3 times what is 51? Well, luckily it's number 17. So 3 times 17 is 51. Now 4, again, it's not an even number, so it doesn't work. 5 doesn't work because, you know, it's not got a 0 or 5 at the end. 6 doesn't work because it's not an even number, etc. So this one only has 4, which is quite nice. This one's got a few more though, number 4. So let's start from number 1 again. So if I do number 1, what matches number 1? 1 times what is 36? Well, 1 times 36 is 36. Now 2 does go into it because it's an even number. So that would be 2 times 18. Now if I move on, let's do 3. So 3, does 3 go into it? It does, and it would be 3 times 12, okay? So I can keep going. Obviously, and next up we've got 4, okay? So does 4 go into it? Yes, it does, okay? So we can write the number 4, and 4 times what is 36? Well, that's 9, okay? 5 doesn't go into it because it doesn't end in a 0 or a 5, but 6 does. But what times 6 equals 36? Well, it's 6, because it's obviously a square number, okay? So that's our final one. So we should have 1 and 36, 2 and 18, 3 and 12, 4 and 9, and then the number 6 all on its lonesome. So the next one says work out 7 times 10, okay? So I've got 7. If I want to times it by 10, all I've got to do is add the 0, okay? So I should have 70. Same for this one. So if I want to do 10 times 10, I've got my 10. I want to times it by 10, so I add the 0 to get the 100 there. Now, simplifying fractions is nice and easy. I've just got to do the same to the top as I did to the bottom, okay? So what goes into both 8 and 16? That's what I want to figure out. Now, actually, 8 goes into 8 and 16, doesn't it? So if I divide 8 by 8, I get 1, because 1 8 fits in 8. And if I do the same to the bottom, 16 divided by 8, how many 8s go into 16? It's 2. Okay, so 8 over 16 is equivalent or the same as 1/2. Now I can do the same thing for 12 and 42. So some people might have tried this just by kind of halving it to start with. Okay, so what happens if I divide both of them by 2? So if I divide 12 by 2, I get 6, and if I divide 42 by 2, I get 21. Okay, so that leaves me with 6 over 21. But I am not finished yet. Okay, 6 over 21 can still be simplified because what goes into both 6 and 21? Well, 3 does. So if I want to put 3 into both of them, how many 3's fit into 6? We've got 2, because that's what 6 divided by 3 is. And then how many 3's fit into 21? Well, 7. Okay, so that leaves me with 2 over 7. Next up, it asks me to find 50% of 180. Now, finding 50% of something is exactly the same as finding half of something, okay? So all I want to do to find half is divide it by 2. So half of 180 is £90, okay? That's all it means. Now, the next one says find 25% of 120. Now, you might notice that 25 is actually half of 50. Let's done it again. Half of 50% is 25%. So all I've got to do to 120 is halve it to find 50%, and then halve it again. Okay, so I just want to halve it twice. So half of 120 would be £60. But then I'm going to halve it again, and I'm going to get my £30, okay, and that's your final answer. Next one says round 2084 to the nearest 100, okay? So basically that's this column here, isn't it? We've got our thousands, we've got our hundreds, we've got our tens, and we've got our units, okay? So we're currently on a 0 in our 100 column. But if the number after it is above 5, that means we're going to have to round up. If it's below, we can stay the same. So this time we're going to have to round our 0 up to a 1 because the next number, which is an 8, is above 5. So that leaves us with 2,100. Now this one says round 3,372 to the nearest 10. So in my 10 column, I've got a 7. Okay, so I've got 3,300 and then I want to round it to the nearest 10, which has a 7 in. Now if the number after it is below 5, I'm going to keep it as a 7. If it's above it, I'm going to put it up to an 8. But a 2 is below 5, so I'm going to leave it as a 7. Okay, so we'd have 3,370. Okay? Then it says work out 86 times 8. Okay, so what we're going to do here, we're going to split this up a little bit. So we're going to have, I don't know why it keeps doing that. We're going to have our 8 here, and then we're going to have our 80 here, and then we're going to have our 8 here. Okay, so that leaves us a little bit of an easier sum there, doesn't it? Okay, so we've got to do 8 times 8. So 8 times 8 is 64, so that's nice and easy. And then 8 times 8 again is 64, but we add our 0, so that gives us 640. And then all we've got to do is add those together. So 640 plus 64 would be 704. Sorry, I don't know what is happening here, but it should be 704, which I agree doesn't really look like a 704, but it is 704. So the next one then, so 630 times 9, okay, so we should have our 600 and we should have our 30 because we're going to split that up, and then on this side we're going to have our 9 and we're going to draw our little grid like that, and then we're going to have a go at it, okay, so 9 times 3, we know that 9 times 3 is 27, we've got our extra 0, so we're going to plop that in there, and we know that 6 times 9 is 54, but this time we've got 2 extra zeros, so that leaves us with 5,400. Now the easy bit, we just add those two together, so we're going to be left with 5,670. Okay? Next one says simplify 5c plus 5c plus 6c. So basically we've just got 5 lots of c, another 5 lots of c, and 6 lots of c. So we just have to add up these numbers in front of the c's, and then put a c after it. So 5 plus 5 is 10, plus the 6 is 16. So in total I've got 16 C's. Next one's a little bit more confusing because we've got A's and B's, but we've just got to group them, okay? So we've got 10 A's and we've got 8 A's, and it's got an addition sign there, so 10 plus 8 is 18. So we've got 18A. Then we've got a 2B, and we've got a 7B, and again it's addition, so it's nice and simple. So 2B plus 7B would be 9B. Next one says we've got 39,253, and we're going to add to that 15,736. So a nice simple addition. So 6 plus 3 is 9, 3 plus 5 is 8, 7 plus 2 is 9, 5 plus 9, we're going to have to carry the 1, which I'm going to put here, is 14. And then we've got that 1 there, so 1, 2, plus the 3 is 5. So we should have 54,989. So exactly the same principle needed here. We've got 30,730, and we're going to add 18,364. So we can do 4 plus 0 is 4, 6 plus 3 is 9, 3 plus 7 is 10, so we're going to carry our 1 down here. 1 plus 8 is 9, 1 plus 3 is 4. So we should have 49,094. Now the next one, we have to remember bid mass, okay? So we've got BIDMAS. Now here we've got some subtraction and we've got some multiplying. So we're going to have to do the multiplying first. So 8 times 2 is 16, and then we're going to do the subtraction, which would be minus the 5, which would equal 11, okay? And then for the final one, we're running out of time, you have to do the 11 times 3 first.